It's Wayne's World. You don't say that.
What's up?
Come on, man.
Unleashed podcast. We got a couple newbies this week.
What up?
Mr. Bobby Jones came back,
Pizza night.
and then Colin came in. Look at that, the return. I don't
Pizza
know.
night.
Oh, call it a comeback.
He's never been on the podcast.
Colin, have you ever
Wow.
been here?
When we did it at the house.
Oh God.
Oh God, the worst, the worst visual episode of all
I
time.
don't know. It counts. To me, it counts.
That was a nice
To me, it
couch.
counts.
That was a nice couch. That was the worst viewed podcast ever.
Bad angles.
Everything was bad about it. It was really nice. The room, the couch, the wraparound, it was all good. So what's up? Bobby Jones, let everybody know last week we kind of did it where we're back and this is who we are. Let everybody know. Bobby Jones, who you are, what you do, what you're about. Hit 'em
Yeah,
with
I'm
it.
here. What's up, guys? Bobby Jones. I'm excited to get back to the Be Unleashed podcast. I am a partner here at UnleashU now. I also own a company called Brightside, and just ready to get back. Hopefully, we can inspire and impact you guys tonight, and hopefully, we can hear from you guys through some feedback in the comment section. Be active, be engaged.
Let's give a big shout out to Jesse Marsh. What up?
What up, Jesse?
Michael Martin Hummel is in the house. What up, Mike? Colin, let everybody know who you are, what you're about. You're here, bro.
Colin here with Unleashed, part of Unleashed. Just excited to be in the room of great people tonight. Greatness is among you guys. So,
Greatness.
and we got coming ahead.
Perfect.
Good stuff.
Let's go. So we got Brent Schott. Say what's up, Brent Schott. You already did your whole thing, but you can say what's up.
What's up, Brent Shot?
Murder Mog.
Oh, what's up?
Alex.
Hey.
It's such a cool nickname. And what's up? It's me. Oh, you're the coolest nickname. Me. So what's up? Another Tuesday. We fixed the sound a little bit.
Allegra's in the house.
I think we're
Allegra.
good.
Right.
Guys, can somebody let us know?
Listeners, let us know.
How is
Yeah. Do we sound hot and to trot?
Somebody's
Is that what people
reacting.
say anymore?
They're reacting.
Allegra's loving it.
Allegra's in the house. What up?
Is that Chris in the house? Chris
You
Anderson?
stop reacting. You're in the room, damn it.
Chris, is that you that I saw? Say hi, Chris, so we know that you're here, bro.
Who? Who this? All right. So we'll do. We did popcorn style last week. We're gonna do popcorn style this week.
She said,
And-
"Michael is loud." That's
What
the
else
first
is
time
new?
you've ever heard that in your
Once I was in the classroom.
Literally
Don't
never.
say.
He's usually like,
I'm
At
Mr.
events,
Whispers.
no.
Had a little bit
At
more
events, we call him Mikey Whispers. But yo, if you know him for real, this dude.
Yes.
going from be more. What you already
Tommy, what up?
Oh,
Need to laugh everyone up to make it better.
long.
Chris, what do you think? We're made of money?
I got
Get out of here.
no, we got lav mics like crazy back from the day.
We need like a 32 channel
From-
switchboard,
from
bro.
the panel.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we got
No.
those still.
We just need like a 32
Jesse
channel
said
switchboard.
Colin was hard to hear, but otherwise.
Because he's the real whispers.
Maybe we check
Damn.
check the volume on whatever channel that is. Channel.
I mean,
3.
Margaret's alright. Yeah, bro.
Yeah. That's what we turned off again.
All
Check
right,
1, 2.
so let's do it popcorn style. Brent, hit us up. First topic. What do you want to talk about?
Oh, Jesus.
You didn't see me last week, and we talked about that topic the whole
You
time.
should have known. You should have known. I was gonna do
You
it.
know it's coming.
You should have known. He didn't know, so it was popcorn.
Let's talk about green
Oh,
cups.
okay.
Green cups. Go Birds!
Go, bro.
I have a topic. It's controversial, if that's how you say it.
I think it's the most articulate one.
Or do you actually have a topic?
These are in the French style.
Go ahead.
Okay. What's everyone's take on someone's why being a person?
Oh, Bobby. Bobby has an opinion on that.
I keep saying that. I keep seeing that. And yeah, it's been a long time ago. So for our new viewers, let's bring it back. A lot of growth can happen in a year. Let's bring it back.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So this one's a little tough for me because I also obviously having 2 kids, 2 beautiful daughters. Me and my wife have been together for over 20 years. It's crazy. But they mean a lot to me. They matter. They motivate me. They inspire me. There's a lot of their presence in my life that fulfills me. But to me, your why has to be 100% within your control, because the moment that thing is potentially the relationship changes, whatever, then what, right? Then what? What will you stand for then?
Yeah.
This is on the back end of watching spouses devote their entire life to their husband, wife, only to find out that they're having an affair or want to divorce and leave. I've seen parents devote their lives and their purpose to being a parent, father, mother, only for their kids to live a life that doesn't really involve them anymore. And then what do they stand for then? And these are the things that are constantly a challenge for me. It's like, okay, if these things weren't in my life, would I have a reason to continue on? And that's the challenge that I try to put myself through often enough to know that I'm in control of what's motivating me to move forward. So I know it's a deep topic to start on, but
No, I mean, you got to look at it like this, Bob. And you talked about the dynamic of the relationships. Things end ultimately, but when, yeah, right. But what you got to look at is perspective of, and I want to go a little selfish here in a way, right? Like the why within control should always be yourself.
correct.
Okay. And I look at it this way, right? And we can call it selfishness or whatever, but the best you is the best for those around you.
Sure.
Period. Right? Like the best me, the best, I can be as the best father, the best husband all around. Right. So when I got myself in order, my priorities ready to go, my why, of course, I'm going to say, cop out, easy answer. My why is my kid. My why is this. But ultimately within control, my why is me. Because you can't control whether they want you in their life or not. One day, man, somebody could just get pissed by the way you look. Bounce. I mean, that's not a true friend or whatever else, but you get it, right? So ultimately, as we build into that, we have to determine in those relationships, how can we better ourselves every day in order to build that end of the bar, right? And if we key in on being our best selves, around us going to be.
I mean, I would even go further than that because, like, even if we're focused on being our best self, what is it for? Like, just to be our best self? For what? Right? I think we even have to go deeper into, like, it matters for me to be my best self because for this to happen, or the only chance it has to happen, is I have to be better for it. Because I think if it's just be my best self for myself, or whatever, for the people around me, I think that's easy to be like, well, I can sit on the couch today. Right? Joe Smo around the corner, I'm fucking better than him. So fuck it, right? We start doing that comparison. And it's like comparison sometimes we're better than, and comparison sometimes we're not better than.
Yeah.
And so it's like just be better today or just be the best self, but for what? It has to matter.
Right.
Because if it doesn't matter, if it's not like a strong emotional pull to us, we all know we quit. We all know. Right. But I love what you said about the end, right? Like everything ends.
Yeah.
Right. It's like that's what makes life so amazing is that we know it ends at some point. So everything we do matters. Right. If it didn't have an end date, we could be like, fuck it. I'll take 100 years resting.
But it's
Right.
fluid, though. I think you're right. But the why has got to be fluid in your motivational tactic. Look at it this way, right? We talk about best you. So let's get down to a personal story for me. I was 330 pounds about a year and a half, right? What motivated me to lose weight, which I'm now 252 pounds sitting here today. Thank you.
Woo.
What motivated me to lose the weight? And I could use the cop out my daughter and say, well, I wanted to walk her down the aisle. I wanted to be there and be alive in a form of control. What is the common thing you're hearing from me? I wanted. It's all about me. It has nothing to do with her. And if dad's there walking down the aisle, he's going to walk down the aisle regardless. I want to be there selfishly because this is for me. So my why behind this is ultimately so I can be there and I can see it. So I took the controllable metric, which was my weight, which if I didn't get that under control, bro, I'm done. Like, I can't control the day I die, but I can try to prolong that sucker by doing that controllable method there. So ultimately the why, because I wanted to be around for my kid.
Why?
Because it fulfills me internally. It's a happiness mechanism.
What does it mean?
I mean, I got
But we can
nothing.
keep-
I mean,
we can keep
exactly.
Going deep, and this is the thing, right? Like that's the reason why it's like when people are, and I know you're in a better perspective than this, but to your point earlier, when people are typically asked why, they answer with the most comfortable, familiar thing
Quick
that
and
they
easy.
have. But through that strategy, it is uncomfortable. Like like you want to be able to fire off an answer, but if you don't truly know, and I'm not saying you don't, Alex, I'm just saying that this is the exercise that we have to go through, because the more that we peel back the layers, we truly find out why something is even important to us. Like, why is that something? And then, I can even go at that, right? It's like, I want to be able to walk her down the aisle. Well, she's gonna want to walk down the aisle first, bro. Like, I appreciate your willingness to go there, but you know how many people have been under the threat, like when we talk about health, you know how many people have been under the threat of death and they still go out and smoke a cigarette or drink a beer or go shoot enough? Like, that's not always enough. What you have to be under the threat of is life. Like, right? It's like you could die, but you could also live. And what then do you stand for? Like, what in that journey of life do you stand for, and what absolutely matters the most along that journey? It's not enough to just combat death, I think.
I also think like downplaying us being at something, like my daughter ever gets married, like she ever likes people sound.
I'm not to get married.
Yeah, right? Like if she ever commits that kind of level of
I
commitment
don't know.
and interaction with a person to that degree, I'd be surprised. But
Yeah.
if he does, I guarantee if I'm there or not, the
He needs to check his ear.
this is hard. It would be hard for her too. I mean, we've all seen people get married. Like my sister got married after my dad died. I started it. I saw friends get married after their dad died. I saw what the impact it had on that day, and different tears that were shed, different emotions that were felt that would not have been felt or thought of if they were there.
Yeah.
Right. So to belittle our impact in a situation or in a relationship, as in they wouldn't care, I think that's just belittling the importance of the people in our lives. Right. So it's just, I think your daughter would definitely care, and I think you care 100%.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like she's just going to walk down the aisle and skip down either way. It's going to be a much different day if you were there or not. 100%. Oh, of course.
Can I read Jesse's comment?
Go ahead.
And then we can all, I hope she doesn't mind comment to that because it's on this. She said, "This is hard for me because my why has changed so much over the few years, but Paxton, who is her daughter, absolutely my why. She is why I'm here, why I'm alive. Literally, she knew I needed her the day I was going to commit suicide. And so the girls are my reason for digging deep, growing, healing, dealing with trauma, and breaking those trends for them so they can have a better life. As I grow, I find that my why is growing too."
Yeah. So gosh, this is tough for me. And Jesse, I love you to death. I love positive feedback. Every bit of that mindset, because it's definitely enough for a huge spark, right? There's so many things that I think can confuse our why with a spark, something that is like going to cause us to move in a forward direction with momentum and a trajectory, right? Ultimately, the exercise that I continue to put myself into is, if these things that are outside of my control were no longer there, and again, I promise you, I'm knocking on wood for everybody that's in the conversation, because people matter, people around us matter, my family matters, but my exercise, not just for my why, but for my own self-love, is in the event that the things around me that truly matter to me right now are no longer there. Do I still have reason to exist? Do I still have reason to move on? Do I still have reasons to push?
Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing for me that I think allows us to be completely in control of the fuel for our fire. And I know it's not the most comfortable conversation. I know that it's a little bit uncomfortable, but to be in that place and truly imagine a world where those people are not there, and you still know that you can push on and move on and impact and live a fulfilled life, then truly I believe you're in control of that why. Now, with that being said, I am not suggesting in any way that your why cannot be a compliment to the ones that you love and the people around you. Because I can start to go in this direction. Like, you can be selfishly motivated, like your North Star could be your own wants, desires, and not be to the expense of others. Does that make sense? Right? It's not like I'm not going to selfishly screw over people that I love and care about because I am self-motivated or selfishly self-centered in my life, or self-centric in my life. That's the thing that I think is commonly misunderstood about what I say when I'm saying this. Trying to figure out, do we have audio?
When
issues?
we did our mic check, it sounded good without this mic. I'm wondering if it's this mic.
No, we're still solid right now. Now the only mic in question is this one.
Yeah.
So they can tell us now with this mic how we sound over here. We got that mic up. They said that sounded better.
Yeah.
You guys don't have to talk right into the mic. You guys can
Yeah.
talk a little bit farther away.
Yeah, I think that's what's throwing something. I feel like we got something.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'd love to add to this. I mean, one of my favorite things in life is being a dad. Being a family man, I love it. But when it comes to the why, the thing that pops in my head, I love what everybody's saying. I love what Jesse added into the conversation. Everybody, I think just to come up with what Bobby said too is I feel like life's always going to be changing. What we're doing this year is going to be different next year, or somebody's going to hurt us, or our job's going to change, or something's going to happen to our family, or somebody's going to die, or there's always going to be something that happens that changes the aspect of my life. So for me, what comes to my mind when you say what's my why, or should it be something besides a person? A lot of my why comes from my pain. The pain, and sometimes I think that some people have a hard time figuring out their why because they really haven't experienced life yet. And if you're raised in a good home, as opposed to raised in a home where you don't have a parent or missing something, or you're raised in a home where you have everything that you need, and opposed to you're raised in a home where you have to work, work from a very young age, it really changes your life and your perspective of life. So for me, my why has come a lot from my pain, what I've experienced. And I would say that my why is that I don't want anybody to ever have to live what I have lived and experienced. I don't talk about it a lot, but I don't want anybody to have to experience the things that I've experienced. So when I teach, or when I mentor, or when I lead somebody, I want to lead them in such a way. My why is to hope that they never, ever experience the full amount of pain that I've experienced in my life. And it pushes me to be a better person. It pushes me to teach different. It pushes me to rise above situations in my own life, because I know what's going to constantly change. And I don't want to be something that constantly changes in other people's life. I want to be something that's constant, a constant voice. I want my why to be constant. And just wide open for me tonight is that my pain's always going to drive me, because I don't want anybody to experience the crap that I experience in my life. That's fresh.
I love that.
And you just sit here and you guys have my mind just spinning so much because we heard so many different positions on your why. And my why right now seems a little bit lost. Sometimes I sit back and it's okay to be confused about what that why might be and sit down and break it down, talk with people, have people influence you, and kind of find out where your heart is and how you want to move forward. And that's kind of where I'm at in this journey, not even a journey, but this Unleash You community that is building and growing, and being able to meet and see so many people that have poured into my life, not only in person, but on Facebook, Instagram, whatever you're on. Man, it's okay if you don't have your why right now, but don't let that hold you back from pushing forward in the future. Dig deep. We got some dig deep dives coming on. We got some Nashville events coming on. We got some men's retreat, women's retreat. Jump on in there, sign up, get a part of what we feel on an everyday life process. Let's do it.
Hey, Colin, found it.
Let's go.
Found it.
I think this is more the importance of community. Bobby's the swinger.
So a little pineapple.
Upside down. All right. Totally lost what I was saying. This drives the importance of community. If we're just trying to make it life alone, we can get lost in what our why is. I think that's what I hear Colin saying, and that's why we do life together. The more you do it together, the easier you find out your why.
Mhm.
We gotta help each other.
It's a team sport.
Team sport.
Yeah,
Hey,
I mean,
there's
oh,
a
sorry.
comment. No, it's okay. Judy, she said, that's why I support grieving mothers and fathers. I hope they will feel supported because I had none. I had to seek it. My loss allowed me to flip it and
I
help
love
others.
that.
It's so big, right? Because that's what we're,
Mhm.
like we're talking about this hypothetical. There are people that experience this stuff, man. And what do you stand for then? And Mike and Dr. Vinny, they've been extremely motivated by the loss of a loved one. And it is a big part of what they stand for. And so that is a huge part of how that can still contribute, to your overall purpose and what you stand for as a person.
Right. I agree. And I'm actually going to chime in on this since I'm the one that brought it up. I I agree with Brent, actually. Literally. I served it, give it back. But I agree with Brent on this I mean, this might just be me because I'm the only person at this table that doesn't have a child. But so this is coming from someone that doesn't have kids, is my pain is my why. And I'm going to go back to what Jessie said when she was saying about her daughter. Her daughter, I feel like, and this is coming from my perspective, is like people can save you. That doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be your why. Like her daughter saved her. Like I was suicidal in the beginning of the year. That's why a big thing for me is making sure people don't feel alone. That's why we started this women's group. That's my why. And then, the people that are supporting me in my life, I love them, but that doesn't mean that they are the motivator. If they leave me, what is still, I still have a life. I still have to live a life. And so that is my motivation, is pain. I feel like that is for a lot of people. And so that's kind of why I brought it up. And I did love when Jessie said that, is because she feels as though her daughter is her why, and it certainly could. I'm not the dictator on that, but I feel like when she's saying like growing, healing, dealing with trauma, that's because she knows how that feels. She doesn't want her kids to feel alone. So that might not even necessarily mean that is her kid, is her why. It's that feeling that she had is her drive for her why. I feel like your why is a feeling, not a thing.
I also think as we live, whys are exposed to us by life, right? I wasn't, I don't think I was created and was like, hold up, let's end suicide, bro. Right? Like that didn't happen, right? I think throughout our time, in a way, we get to pick our why. I might be low. No, okay, I hear me. Good. The life exposes things to us that leave scars on our heart or our soul or our being. And then we determine those things are important to us now because of what we went through or what we felt. We don't want others to necessarily go through or feel. So as we go through life, different things are exposed to us that we're like, I didn't really know that. How many people dedicate themselves to cancer research or to trying to find a cure to cancer? Why? It's because somewhere in their life, someone they love or someone they know they loved or someone they know that loves someone was exposed to something. They're like, that is wrong. Let me try to help and fix. Right. So I think our purpose or our why can be exposed to us, and then we learn and we see it and we care deeply enough about it that it becomes ingrained in our DNA almost, that we don't understand what life would be like without it. Right. Because we've all experienced loss some sort of way, and we all continued. Right. You strip me of my purpose. Now I don't know what I'm doing here. And I think when I had no purpose, that's when I was suicidal. Like that's when I was a loose cannon. Was when I didn't have necessary purpose. I hung out, we did stupid things, we did whatever, right? And it was like, it was cool, whatever, I don't care, right? Like it was like when we said we didn't care, or who cares if I get shot, who cares? Like all the stupid stuff that we used to say and do, right? It was like, because I didn't have a purpose, I didn't have a direction. It's because life didn't expose me to what hit me to the core enough to become the deeper level of me to be purpose driven. And that's why it's hard to explain, because it's at a level that's not understandable to human beings unless you go through it or something like it to be like, I get it. Right? Because we're talking about like the heart, the core of an individual. We're not talking about like a logo, right? Someone could buy UnleashU now today. That doesn't change our mission, right? Like it doesn't change what we're doing or what I'm about, right? Just a different name, right? Cool. Like you could trash whatever. A lot of people don't know, Bobby had a different roofing company. It was with two jerk-offs, right? Sorry, I said it, you didn't, so you could be like, I never said that. It was just my terminology. All right, it wasn't doing what he wanted to or going about it the way he wanted to go about it. So he's like, you know what? Cool, take it. Good luck. Everybody do your thing. I wish you nothing but the best. but I'm going to go do this thing. Then what happened was this thing was another roofing company that just did it in a different way, a way he felt compelled that it was true to him and that he could actually perform and do at the level in which he wanted to, that he felt good doing. Because what we do, we want to feel good about. We don't want to do shit and feel awful about it, right? Like that would just kill our soul. So I think as we go, purpose, direction, passion, it's exposed. It's not in that like something that was born in us that's just like, hold on, let me tap into this thing. Sometimes we don't have it yet, and that's okay, right? That just means you're going through the journey. And it's going to come at some point of it. You're going to be like, this is what I'm committed to, or this is what I'm not committed to. Either one is fine. But rather than thinking it's like something we have to know, it's in us, we just have to find it. I always hate that thing. Like, just go find yourself. Oh shit, I'm lost out there somewhere. Let me go figure it out. That one led me down a really bad road. So it's something that will come in time when you're ready. And when you went through enough to be forged by that fire and that cutting, right? And that burning and that pressure and all that comes from it, that it reveals itself to your soul and you realize it's part of you now. It was burnt into me. I think that's when we find like purpose or why or something like that. And I think that's why sometimes people will say, oh, my kids, this is an easy, I don't have it yet. And it's an easy answer, right? Yeah. It makes sense. And it's logical. We all want to be logical. Yeah. We don't want to be like nutsos and be like, whoa, I really like care about like people not being alone. Like what, dude?
It's a deeper discussion, right? So like, do you want to, every time somebody asks you like what motivates you, do you want to take them down this deep conversation and like, you know what I mean? But it has to be identified for yourself. And that's why I say, and I love what Mike started with Alex there, is like, you know, kids are really good about this. Just continue to ask why. When you think you've got the answer, ask why again. You know what I mean? Like you'll be surprised why something, in fact, most of the time when you discover that, I was shocked. I was surprised. It didn't make any sense to me at first. I was like, that's why like I'm so fired up about this. But you'll find it if you just continue to dig down that mission. But I do like what Mike's talking about because they change, right? Like, shoot, I love where he went with my roofing company, but still when I started the second roofing company, my why was my bills. Quickly after that, though, it had to stand for something bigger than that. And, you know, I talk about that moral obligation factor a lot, and you guys have heard me discuss that. But if you don't think that's part of, you know, the foundation that Michael stands for and his family stands for, like, you don't think it's their responsibility now as having experienced that and having this mission to prevent suicide? That is like moral obligation to a T, right? It's like, I found that this is a big issue and people are experiencing this and people are living in a world where they don't think that they matter. I need people to understand that they matter. And then you're moved forward by that responsibility to it. To me, that's a great example of the moral obligation, right? When you find these things that are truly ingrained for you, right? And that can be the weight loss thing. That can be somebody brought up. So you brought up an example of somebody who might have been a family member might have been lost to cancer, and now they want to bring cancer awareness, right? So it's like it can certainly be those things because then there's this desire, there's this moral obligation to educate, bring awareness to what it is that can prevent that from happening for somebody. And that's something that we all can be fired up about. It's just you have to find your own moral obligation.
I think it changes. And I like what Cullen said, where he was like, I'm not really sure. Like there are periods in everyone's life where they're not sure. That does change. So I like the transparency there.
Yeah, I think I've been in the fire part for the last, couple of years. And I think now I'm in the forge part. And now, with people you surround yourself, the communities, those interactions are what is molding you into something amazing that you're going to be. Not that you're not amazing now, but look at what you're going to be at that point. We see so much of the suicide rates increasing, and that's part of my why, that I'm finding out that you guys matter. Each and every one. You guys matter, and that we all have issues. We all have those skeletons, and that's okay, because I don't care about who you were then. I care about who you are going to be, where you're going to go in the direction, and that's what we're here for. We're always a message away, but just keep pushing. Keep pushing. Don't let those dark alleys scare you. Okay, we're going to go through the dark alleys, and we're going to see the light. And if we can be the light in your life, let's go.
I think also like the only way you find it is by going on, right? Like the only way.
Because there's,
Yeah, you can't find it sitting still. Like it's not going to come to you. Doing nothing's not going to not going to bring you it.
99.9% of the time will not come to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to go through it. And then something will click in you and be like, I care about this. Like this is more than just an interest to me. Like it's Tom Billiard did a great thing a couple years ago when he's like, find your passion. He was like, first you try things, then you see what interests you of the things you try, then you do it more. And if you like it more, it becomes a passion. If you don't, you stop or you just do it lightly, right? And it just keeps growing to what it is. He's like, but you don't know it unless you go try it. How many things were we said we didn't like, thought we were petrified of, had major fear, or things that we were like, we'll never do. Then you do it and you're like, oh, this is pretty dope. Jesus, me, you, and Brent were that way with sushi.
Yeah.
Right? We're like, oh, hell no, never ate sushi. And we're like, this is great. Like, we love sushi now.
You don't eat real sushi.
Raw
I
sushi,
love when
correct.
Colin, he's like, just get me whatever you think I'm gonna like. I'm like,
without
that's easy.
cucumbers.
Without
We're good.
cucumbers.
No, but he hit it on. I mean, like for me sitting here at this table, that's something that terrifies me.
Mm.
And that's something that I've lived so many years of my life in the scared zone that, I've missed out on so many blessings. We look for opportunities every day and they're sitting right there in front of us. And we don't take them because we got that fear factor that holds us back. And you guys aren't scared. You guys are great. You guys are we're sitting here and we were goofing off and having a good time. But look at when we became real, the emotions that came up with each and every one of us at the table.
Mm.
I mean, we dug deep because there's so much pain that we've each lived in different categories of life.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're sitting here because we believe in you guys. We believe in each other. And it's awesome that don't let that fear stop you. I did it too many years. And those are some of the regrets I have, not taking those steps years ago.
Mm.
But I am proud of the place that I'm at right now.
Good.
You mean like opening keynote speaker for a virtual event?
Let's go.
Was.
He
Loving
was.
this.
Like I
Hey,
dropped that.
I love this.
On that real quick, I'd love to touch on this for a second because it's interesting how like we do get a little clammed up. We do get a little nervous. We're like, should I? Who am I to be? Right? Like, who am I to be on the podcast or who am I to be out there talking to people? Right? And the moment that we realize that it's not about us,
Mm.
it changes. Right? It's like when Michael gets on stage and talks to somebody, he owes it to the people listening to get onto that stage, right? Because there's a responsibility. Again, I always take this thing back to this moral obligation because there's somebody out there listening right now that needs to hear your message, Margaret's message, right? There's somebody out there. And if we're not delivering the message, they're never going to hear it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like this thing, the moment that we realize it's not about us and it's
Mhm.
about the recipient, there's somebody somewhere. And that goes for you guys that are watching too. Like tell your story. Right? Deliver your message because somebody somewhere needs to hear it. And it's not fair to them for you to keep it a secret.
All right. Think about whenever you have stage fright, you're thinking about yourself. Right? Someone said, how did I get over being scared of speaking? Because I had a hell of a fear of speaking. Right? Like I failed third grade, never spoke in front of rooms, never read out loud in front of the class. I would rather get in trouble and get sent out of the class than read in front of it. Didn't read it in college. I had someone else read my report. Right? Like I did not want to speak in front of people. Spoke in front of someone at a group at a Boys and Girls Club. I was like, I'll never do this again. Right? And one kid walked up to me and said something to me that'll change my life forever and made me where I was like, I have to speak and it's not about me. And when someone said, dude, if you're afraid of speaking, it's because you're afraid of being judged. And you're not thinking about the one you're meant to reach in the room. And even if it's one person that you changed their life that day forever, or even just for a moment, you did your part and you changed numerous other people's lives because you were willing to speak to that one and change their life. We get caught up in the speaker world for ego. How many people did you speak in front of? People will talk about rooms they spoke in front of, 1,000, 5,000. I'm like, well, geez, go speak at some of these jails and you'll get 1,000, right? Like if that's your thing, you don't have to go far, right? Like you don't have to go fly to some.
Start talking in Times Square, New York.
Yeah.
And speak to 1,000
Yeah,
people.
there'll probably be 1,000 people around, right? But it's
They
like,
might not listen, but they're there.
we get caught up in those ego things. How many events did you speak at? How many people were at those events? And you find yourself getting caught up into it. I mean, I did it years ago, right? I was like, we need to have 5,000 people in the room. Everybody's like, man, what? Just talk to the 5 that are here. Right? Like, you're like, oh, all right. And that's actually a true story. These are the 5 that are here. But it's like, after you get over that and you realize that even if the room's full, you're not speaking to all of them. There's a bunch of people that don't even care what you have to say because they're not at the moment in time that they need you. But there's one sitting there that needs exactly what you have to say. And that's why you're speaking. You're speaking to the one. And sometimes now I even acknowledge when I get up there in conference styles, not mastermind styles so much, that, hey, whoever this is meant for, thank you and let me know, because you're the one I'm speaking for.
Right.
I might not be speaking. These guys might think I'm a clown. I don't care. I'm speaking to you. That's why I'm here. And it's just enough for them to receive it and for me to remember why I'm there. Because we're all a vessel from whatever you believe, right? Universe, God, dirt, tree, I don't care. We're all a vessel, right? And that work is going through you, right? So it's not, like you said, it's not about us. It's about the people we're speaking to. Even if it's just one person, that crowded ass room, they're meant to hear your thing today because they're ready for it today. Change their life forever because of it.
It's funny that you brought that up because me, Dr. Vinny, and Jesse just went to Jalen's brunch, her boss brunch the other day,
Nice.
which was awesome. It was a room full of women. I knew Jalen and Jesse and Vinny. That's it. And so I didn't know any of the women there. And I was sitting there and they had a keynote speaker who was amazing. And they had a panel of awesome women who, it wasn't like anything about plugging your business. I mean, there were business women up there, but it was a lot of vulnerable questions. And so then they left note cards on the table where you could ask questions. And everyone knows, like, it's a normal thing to be terrified. Like, I go through life being fucking terrified to do things. Like, doing this podcast seems so small to people. That's terrifying to me. But I was sitting at that brunch, which I was already anxious on, to go. And something told me to write actually the advice that you gave me on a note card. I handed it in, and they were finishing the questions and everything. And she actually ended the entire event on my quote that I said. And I said, not a question, but a statement to the room. The person and people you are supposed to help and impact will keep struggling until you get out of your own way. And she ended it with that. And I wasn't going to comment. And I'm actually really glad that I did. I got out of my own way and I said that. And I went back on her Facebook, and all of the women, when you go to an event, you make posts and everything. And there was probably like 6 or 7 different women that at the end of their post, they quoted that. Like, that was very, very meaningful to people. And these are people that I don't know. And so it's like, more and more as I'm doing this, I find the realization, like you said, is like, once I get out of my own way, I can actually help people. And it's like, oh my God, I can actually help people. Like, little me who in the background, like, I can help people. And so that's why now I'm like, anyone can help anyone. Like, you just have to be teachable. And so
What if we go one step further and we were meant to help someone?
yeah.
Like we were literally here for it.
Yes.
And that's where, so this is where we can connect the story back to the why, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I will tell you that a huge part of what motivates me every single day, and obviously we can all relate to this because it stands true for us. Like, the message, the responsibility to deliver to the people that I think truly need to hear it from me or just need to hear it in general is what makes sure I don't shut up about it.
Right.
Right. And I can, like, that's the thing to me when it comes to personal development and my involvement in the personal development space. That is my why to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because it is a responsibility for people who do not think that this type of life or a life beyond what they can see around them is possible for them.
Right.
Because they feel like they've been cut from a different cloth. I want to demonstrate for them that it's possible for them. I want them to know that when the teacher's saying to them, hey, you can do anything you want to do as long as you work hard for it, that she's actually talking to them too, not just the rest of the class like I felt.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that to me is a huge part of my why today. In addition to my responsibility to give back to a world that I used to take from, which is a huge part of it too.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I actually was I'm a scroller for TikTok because I love to look at the trends. And it was, I'm not sure of his name, but most people know him, the one that jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge and lived. He did a recent interview and they do clips, the podcast clips. And he said the moment he hit the water, he did not want to die. Like, he knew right then he didn't want to die. And if he died right there, no one would know that he didn't really want to die. And then he goes on to talk about how many people he's helped now. That, I mean, there are times where I guess he goes back to the bridge and, you know, because there are so many people that stand on that bridge every day that contemplate that. And he didn't even realize the impact that he was going to have helping people do the very thing that he was going to do, like that pain that you feel. And so I was watching that the other day and I thought that was such an impactful thing where he was like, I'm laying there dying and no one's going to know that I don't actually want to die right now. Like, I was like, damn. But just think about how many people he's helped just from that. And he didn't even know that was supposed to be his purpose.
Now here's the thing from that though that stands out to me. I know we just lost video for a second. You want to switch to one of the other live cameras? But one of the things that stands out to me on that is the sorry, we're trying to get video back.
What's that like blinking?
Fade to black, which it definitely did.
Want to hit that button again?
Are we back?
We're back.
Cool. The lights are back on, guys.
You know,
It's 'cause you were laughing about that table.
Yeah, the lights are back on. No, I wanted to go off what you're talking about with the Golden Gate guy, right? Because the mission now, right, in my opinion, this is definitely my opinion, but I think I've heard Mike talk about this too, is like, man, there's those moments for us. It wasn't Golden Gate Bridge for me, and I know it wasn't Golden Gate for Michael, but the thing is like the mission and the responsibility that we have is to try to get people to stop before it comes to that, right?
Right.
Like, that's the thing. Unfortunately, humans aren't wired that way.
Yeah.
They have to burn their hand to know the stove is hot. And that's the frustrating part, is because like as much as we then, after experiencing something so traumatic like that, and again, I don't want to put it like what I went through on a scale of jumping off the Golden Gate, but when you go through something like that, you're so motivated to stop people from getting to that place in life. But because of this, like, again, this moral obligation factor, it becomes our responsibility to articulate that differently, to creatively reach people, to reach them in a space where they are, not where we are, go to that. And like, when you really are fed into this moral obligation mindset, the other things, all of the things, and Michael's phenomenal at this, about meeting people where they are and getting to them and reaching them. We think that we could just, we're just going to help the people that are around us. It's bigger than that. It's deeper than that. And Michael was so excellent at that.
And there's a ripple effect to that. You help someone, they help someone.
Right. I also think, go ahead, Brent.
Something I was going to say clicked to my mind is that even more in my life now, like trying to connect what we're saying into where, you know, how does this apply into our life, into our business? How do we, you know, how do I turn my why into making money or like this is. So for me, I'm at a place where I don't desire, like, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, I want to be on this stage. I want to be on this stage, and I'm not busting on anybody or anything like that, because I would love to be on a big stage too. But for me, at this point in my life, I'm at a point where I'd rather help somebody else get to that point, or help somebody else be. And that's my why driving me. And I'm like, I could never make money doing this.
That's why I keep you around.
But then I'm just like, dang. I've learned over the past, since being a part of UnleashU, and Michael pushing me, and some people in the room that are supposed to be in pushing me too, is that that's my why. Like, I'm living in my why, and my purpose and my why is to drive people to their success. I say this all the time, is that your success is my success. And a lot of times in life, we learn it the opposite way. The only way I'm going to be successful is if I get to that stage, then I could do this. If we miss out on what we could have already done up to that point, we could. Yes, does that help? Does that open up other doors? Yes, but sometimes we got to grind and get to that point, and then those doors open. Not everybody gets that big door open at the beginning, so you have to push your tail to get there. And a lot of times we see that person, like we were talking about this last week with Mosey, whatever.
Yeah, there we go.
Right? He just didn't.
Would not have guessed that from that, so I'm glad you
You
said
were
it.
like, "Ooh, the gym, Alex Hermosi.
To the gym, bro. Right?
Does not have that accent.
I'll be a bodybuilder. Anyway, that's Arnold. Anyway, okay, bro. Right, he just didn't get there overnight.
No,
it took years.
Oh yeah,
and we see that
over
in our world today. Everything's visible. Everybody sees everything on Facebook, and they think they have it all figured out. but it takes work. It takes time. You got to put in the work. And so, helping other people be successful now might get you to where that place you want to be, where we have our whys mixed up, and it's holding us back.
Yeah, Alex Mosley, a decade in the game. Normally they say every overnight success is a decade plus of the journey, right? That's when you get to finally hear about them. But how many people are willing to stay in a decade of being unknown to have a moment where you're just known amongst your peers? Like, there's literally someone I talked to about Alex Mosley 3 days ago that never heard of them still. I was like, no, they just broke the internet like last week. They're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, oh, all right, let me explain it. Right. And it's like, wow, something that I'm like, many of us have known his journey for a while now, that some people are just hearing about him. And they're like, look at this dude come out of nowhere with so much skill. I'm like, out of nowhere? Like, all right.
There are people that still don't know Tony Robbins.
Right. Yeah. Like, dude, there's people. I'm like, Trent Shelton's coming. Like, that's pretty cool. They're like, who's that? I'm like, all right. One guy thought it was Trent Richardson, the running back. And I was like, I would never invite him. Like, he's done, other than playing in the NFL. I've never
Come learn from Trent Shelton.
Yeah. Right. And Trent Shelton, remember Trent Shelton in 2019 in Delaware, right? When he said, no one knew me when I was in my mama's guest room in 2009, making videos against a window and a white wall, thinking I was killing it and everybody should know my name. And now him like 15 years in the making, now he's on the stage with Tony Robbins, but it's because he kept doing it all those times when he was getting no views, 1 view, 2 views. I remember after the whole speaking to the Boys and Girls Club thing and having that moment, I was like, I'm going to speak to everyone tomorrow, right? Like everyone's going to welcome me on their stage. Like they want me. Look at what I did. That kid talked to me, right? That was like ground shaking. It never happens, or it happens every time someone does it. Either one, you can pick, right? But it was like, I thought that was going to happen. And we're talking years later and we're sitting here and like people, I go to Walmart here. People don't know who I am. Right? Like no one knows who I am. They're like,
I had no idea you were here.
Yeah. We were both doing this. We didn't know we were in the same state, right? I met Brent at a chamber luncheon. Like, there are weird things. I met Colin through him, right? Like, and he was like, this scam artist is in Delaware. I got to meet him. Right? And then he met me.
This guy out.
Yeah, then he ran my name through his CB and shit. And I was like, oh, you're all right. I'm like, right? But, sorry, professional talk.
I heard it on the other side.
It's right though, because I mean, sometimes it's, things look so good that you don't believe it until you get that introduction to it. And honestly, I mean, that's what I thought about you.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been honest with you about that. I mean,
I was thinking about
I'm like, Brent talks about this guy all the time. I'm like, man, Brent, you're going down the wrong alley, man. We got to go back.
Yeah.
And these are, I mean, because it's my job to look out for him. This is a man that I love and I care about.
Oh yeah.
I support.
I know.
I mean, this is somebody that I'll go down and I'll freaking die for. It's just that
I
kind
know.
of love.
That's deep.
Guy
So-
human.
When he had that introduction, I'm like, man, let's just go with caution, dude. That's all. And next thing you know, here, 2 years later, I'm sitting at the table with you, and I care about each one of you.
Yeah.
And no, we don't have
Wow.
to look the same. We don't need the same background. We don't need the same
Right.
career.
100%.
When we come together as a community, and then boom, everything just blows up. So it's, dude, I've been jealous from Brent. I mean, we've had this talk years ago. Dude, I've been jealous of this man my entire life because he's had just something that just pops and just blows up. And I'm like, man,
I thought you meant his head. Sorry, go ahead.
I've held that back for so many years because I'm scared to take those steps.
No,
And what's this man do? He does it.
right.
He doesn't care. If people, he doesn't care that people
No.
get up there. And me, I'm scared of judgment. I won't get up there and talk. in
He
front of
held
people.
9 balls in his hand
He
on the
does.
first stage that we ever put
He
up
did?
to open the act. Right? I'll never forget that. And everyone was a different color.
You said he
Um,
held 9 balls.
All right. So one had one. Colin, the first time I went to your house, I thought I went to some crazy ass rally psycho. It was
You
a fire in the
fucked it up in that
backyard.
night.
I was hanging out in the parking
You were
lot. So I was like, I'm not
sacrificed.
getting too close until Brent gets here. Right? I'm like,
You
damn,
were
I'm the
sitting
one
back
they
there
say,
pacing
I'm the
in
one,
circles.
I'm the setup. Like,
like,
I
you
didn't
get
know
it up.
I'm getting set.
He messaged me and he was like, I'm just waiting for them to bring the sheets out.
Yeah, right? Like I'm about to die in this thing. I'm in the middle of nowhere. There's a fire in the backyard. I'm the one getting killed. Like the one that doesn't know is the one that's getting it. Just so you ever know how it goes. And I didn't know. But also, like I take this another step from what you guys were saying. Right? It's like when you're like, because you said something where I was like, you said I didn't jump off the Golden Gate Bridge. Comparing hearts. Right? That dude didn't face 30 plus years either.
True.
Right. And
I just didn't want to take away from his story.
Right, I got it. We all have our own story. And here's the deal. You don't need to jump off the Golden Gate Bridge or to face 30 plus years to decide that is your moment and this is it. Right. I'm not going back to whatever this place is. I'm going forward from here out. Yeah. Right. Like whatever that is for you, everybody has their like rock bottom. But here's the thing, have yours. Because the guys that didn't have theirs aren't here anymore. And that's a problem. Right? Like it doesn't take you to go through some dramatic, crazy things like that some of our stories have. You don't need that. Yeah. You just need to decide that this is the worst. Yeah. This is the last time I face something like this. This is the last time I'm going through with something like this. And from now on, I'll be different. So it will be different. I think so long we wait like, well, I haven't real tragic yet. So I'll just wait. I'm like, you don't have to do that. Right? Like, yeah, exactly. You could tell the story about falling asleep in the hot tub. Do you know the stats of the people that survive that? Not many. I'm like, yeah, they probably don't call somebody and record it. Right? But this kid was like, he wanted to make it a dramatic scene. And he's like, you don't understand. I had a drink and passed out in a hot tub and survived. I'm like, we all knew that part because you're here, right? Like that. Yeah, right? Spoiler alert. We knew when you walked up there that you were here. Right. But it's like you don't have to make this scene up. Yeah. Just be like, this was the day I decided. Right. Because that's powerful. Yeah. Because you decided. That's the power.
That's so good, man.
Yeah, too many people get wrapped up in that trauma and they have to have some kind of trauma to be. You don't need to have that to be in this environment, man. Like everybody's got I got this hard story, and then everybody's renting mansions with fake cars and putting on the big imagery, right? Like. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to be throwing out what this fake persona is. We don't need to play my hard's worse than your hard and our traumas this so bad. Fuck, bro, I hope you never go through trauma.
Yeah.
I hope you never go through it because ultimately, none of it's good. Yeah. I don't care if somebody said you're an asshole and it hurt your feelings or you were molested. It doesn't fucking matter, dude. Trauma's trauma.
It is, yeah.
And the whole point is and we don't need to sit there and say, hey, look, look, easy.
No,
easy.
I like where you're going with that too, Alex.
Like,
because we don't get to determine.
Well, I mean,
right?
Yeah,
and
like I'm not here to harm.
Chemically,
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, this was on Joe Rogan's podcast not too long ago. They were talking about it. This woman wasn't actually on the podcast, but they were referring to an interview where this woman, she was like 15 years old. This was back like 30, 40 years ago. Her and her family went to South America. They were on a single engine Cessna. The plane went down in like the jungle, right?
Yeah.
When it went down, it killed the rest of her family. Took her mom's head clean off right next to her, right? Hear me out. The local villagers heard the accident, came, saved this girl. She was 15 years, she was the only survivor. Okay. Now she's telling this story like 30 or 40 years later, right? And they're like, geez, what kind of therapy did you go through for that? And she's like, therapy.
Yeah.
You didn't go through therapy back then. You just had to move on.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not saying that therapy is not important. I'm not saying that there's not, but I'm just saying that people handle everything differently, right? She, without therapy, was not nearly as impacted as probably most people would be.
Yeah.
I was not as impacted by my childhood that somebody might have their parents might have had a fight on their 9-year-old birthday. And that stuck with them forever.
Yeah, right.
And they never got over it. So we don't get to determine how something impacts us.
Correct.
And for that same reason, we have to practice empathy and gratitude. So you guys know my story, like foster care, but foster care here in America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like I wasn't in a third world country and didn't have my parents and grew up, having to steal food to eat, right? Or the moment I get caught stealing my food, I get my hand shot. Right? Like, do you understand? Like, we can have perspective.
Shit could have been a lot better too, bro.
Yeah. And I want to go back to something that you guys were talking about with the overnight success thing, right? Like, this thing it's crazy how Dave Ramsey talks about this in his book, where at one point Oprah was interviewing them, right? And everybody in the organization was like, "Oh my God, we made it! We made it! Look, we're on Oprah. I can't believe we're successful now all of a sudden." And Dave Ramsey's like, "Bruh, we've been working our ass off for 13 years. She just now recognized it. Like, this did not happen overnight. We didn't do this, and she just all of a sudden seen it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've been in the works forever. And one of my favorite quotes, you guys know I'm good for quotes. One of my favorite quotes is
Dick Tracy.
not Dick Tracy, but the most successful people plant trees under which they know they'll never sit. Right? Like, you think about the people that built like the Vatican in Italy, right? The people that designed it never even seen the first brick laid. Think about that, right? Like, that happened over hundreds of years, them building the Vatican in Italy. The people that started it never seen it complete. Their sons didn't see it. Like, you understand? Like, that's the way that some of the greatest things that's ever been accomplished for mankind has happened. So embrace that, right? Like, some of the biggest moves I'm making, I won't see the results for 10, 15 years. And I know that. It's necessary.
I had something, I forgot it.
Back to before I talked about the traumas, the different traumas and the way that
Maybe
people.
in the middle. It was after the traumas and before the tree.
Yeah, traumas for the trees. But listen, I think what we ultimately know is, in this space, you can, the most genuine people shine through, right? We've seen a lot of shit over the years. And it's funny because you mentioned those overnight successes. Faber and I have been at this since too long, but officially 2011, right? We made the decision to start doing some funky shit, and that's where we're at. But that was what, 12 years ago? Okay. So 12 years ago, and then people are like, oh, where are we at? Like, oh, Unleash You Now just popping up. Fuck, nah, it's been 12 years. And then what authority, what basis, and it came on trauma, right? Like, we've lost people. We say never again. We look at opportunity, but we've seen a lot of those come and go, where you have those people who have I've had this crazy trauma and it's flash in the pan. It's like, look, dude, if you're relying your whole entire purpose around that, it ain't going to last, because when you start to be able to get past that trauma, what's left?
Right. You said something that I thought was funny, and it was recently, I tried to explain it to someone, and they said not nice things to me. Someone asked to buy our sales posts, our templates for our sales posts. I was like, you can, but that won't yield what you want. It will probably not get the result you want, and then you'll think, I'm full of shit, and I don't want you to think that. So really, it's like we use a sequence, and that sequence results in, when we do try to sell, we sell. It's not the sales post. And they're like, don't try to sell me your coaching. Just give me the templates. That's what I want to buy. I was like, all right. Like, cool, sweet. I'll give you the sales posts, right? So you have a sales post, and they were asking me at the office, they're like, why do you think it's not the sales post? And I'm like, it's just like, it wasn't last month that led to this month. It's the over and over and over and over and over part. Yeah, it's the piece on top of the piece on top of the piece, added with this, topped on with that, fixed about this. That didn't work right, so we did something in the middle. It wasn't just we made a post that said, hey, you can go to this event, right? Like, everybody does that. Everybody doesn't sell their events, right? So there's more to it. That was not a dig at anybody. It was just a statement. It was just a statement, right? And it's because there's a process. It's like, it's not the person signing the contract that made the roof go. It was the numerous things you did before that made it where that person was willing to sign the contract to buy the roof. Right. And I think we lose that sometimes, that we think about the result and we want that thing so bad, just show us how to do that. But we don't want the journey to create the result. Right. And that's one of the things I love about Spencer Jones. Right. Because Spencer Jones, when he first started this journey with us, he was just starting out and he wasn't doing hot. I'll tell you. I have numerous videos where he says it. So I'm not saying anything he hasn't said publicly. And I was like, Spencer, if you're looking where you are, if you're like, I want to have 100K month next month, I'm the wrong guy. It's not possible where you are. All right. You have to do the work. Now you have to create community. You have to create people you can serve. You have to serve, right? Because just like if you work a job or if you're an entrepreneur, you give hours to get something. The only difference is we might get a check before 40 or 80. We might not. That's the question mark, right? If you work a job, you give 80 hours or more, give or take, you're going to get a paycheck, supposedly. The person you don't know, you probably never really met, shook their hand maybe once, is supposedly going to send you one in the mail or direct deposit in your account, and you believe that. That's fine, right? That's your choice. Some people still believe in things, right? I stopped myself there not to ruin anything for anybody. Holidays, stay safe around me. So the Valentine's Day is fake. No, good. Covered my tracks. Brent, you look funny. I was so still on the video that I thought the video was frozen. And then I looked at Alex and Alex moved and I was like, thank God the video is not frozen. Right? That's how Elsa I was. Get it? Because it's part of Frozen? Come on, bro. But anyway, the Frozen character. What? You're all off. You're all off.
Let it go.
So the idea is like the result is cool,
Thank you, Brent.
but all the different things to get the result are the key. But that looks like work. And what Spencer did was put in the work to the point to have a 6-figure year, right? To have a 5-figure day, right? To be able to launch an event where he's having over 100 people in next year, right? At a bigger, in Chicago, at a bigger resort, right? Like doing big things in such shorter time than we did it, because he wasn't trying to get the shiny thing tomorrow. He was willing to lay the brick today that was eventually going to be enough bricks to make the building to hold it in. And that's the stuff that's going to make someone successful or not. And that's why Spencer will be successful and many others aren't, because they're not willing to do what I think Will Smith said the story. He said, lay a perfect brick. That my job was to lay a perfect brick and then go get another brick and lay a perfect brick. And then after you look at it, it'll be a wall. But that means it's a perfect wall. And it's the only chance if I lay a perfect brick time and time again to make a house or a building that can withstand the environment.
Yeah. What you got to look at too is why are get rich quick schemes so popular? Why is that weight loss pill that you take and don't got to work out so popular? Instant results, right? Like people want that instantaneous now moment. They don't put the work in. They don't create action. That's why we've seen so many people, come and go, whether it be the mastermind where we see people want all the greatness, but they don't put in the work. Then they fall off. And he's talking about Spencer, the ones that have done the work and put in time, and it's showing, right? Like they're getting great results. They're actually being successful. And it's not a secret. People ask us all the time in the mastermind, well, what's the secret to success? It's an easy answer. Put in the fucking work. Like put in the work. You put in the work, it's going to get done. The difference between what he just said, right? The difference between us and Spencer Jones is he actually learned what we had to earn the hard way from us and took that into consideration, then took that action to then Michael achieved his purpose at that moment, gave somebody an ability to create their business faster than he did and in a more successful manner. And that makes me very happy because that's the design of what we want to do. So when you look at those things, you can't skip the steps and expect instantaneous results. There's no get rich quick. There's no pill that's going to magically have you lose weight loss. You know what I mean? It ain't going to happen. You got to put in work, man. We ain't in the future of that yet. And hopefully that'll eventually happen. Hey, who knows, right? But I think we ain't there.
Boom.
One of the things I learned really early in life was, the question was this: would you be willing to work 7 years before you saw a result? Would you work the 7 years? Because that's what it takes. And when I was young and dumb, when I heard that, I was like, that's stupid. But more and more, I know that's the truth. We gotta be willing to put in the work. When I was in sales, I started doing sales. I was mad when I started.
People.
I was mad because I want to sell stuff now. Like I would go and try to I'd go meet Bobby. If he didn't buy, I'd be mad. Like, dude, why did you buy from me? Right? And then, but I think I was listening to, I'm not gonna say his name. I don't know. Blunt was his last name, I think. Jeb Jeff Blunt or Jeb Blunt or something like that. Not that kind of Blunt. All right. But you talked about that. The work that I do today won't produce it. What I do today is going to be a result for me in 3 months. So the conversation I have with Bobby today might not show any kind of value. It's that constant. This is how many times you're going to have to make a touch before you'll see a sale. You know, some people say it's 7, some people say it's 15, some people say it's 20, 30, whatever.
It's 44. Okay.
Right. All right, but it's going to be
Sorry,
it's going to take a lot of work.
Yes.
That's the point. And man, if you're not, and I think that we don't see that instant success, and that really just fires us up. And I think, and I'll say this too, I'm connecting everything tonight. I think that this is what makes UnleashU successful, is because there's people. It's what drives our purpose. Is there's people out there that are ripping people off. There's people out there that are doing it the wrong way, and they look at UnleashU and they say, "What are you guys all about? What's this all about? What am I going to get from this?" And then we begin to have that conversation, and then they have that experience, and we give people a different experience. So we're real. We pull back the curtain. We're honest. We've put in the work. We've been through the hurt too. So we're able to push people and help people get through that. And we're real, and we're not trying to rip people off. We're trying to help you. That's our why. And because that's our why, it makes us successful.
Bro, I love that. And Mike, you did this a little while ago. Right? He showed us the example of that when my man was like, "Yo, let me just buy the template. Let me just buy the template. Let me just buy this so I can do this." Right. And your apprehension to sell him that is the indicator of what this really is about. But if we were like most of the industry, we'd put a price on it as quickly as we could possibly come up with one, and
sell the
package it and send it out. Right? Because, and that's the reason why this coaching space and this personal development space is so saturated, because they know that they're going to teach so many people, right? And so many people aren't going to do it in the first place. And they're okay with that. We're not okay with that. We want people to see the results. And that's the thing that matters. And this is why I think that you can be selfishly about other people, right? Because Michael's talked about impacting the people that he wants to impact in his lifetime. And the way to do that is through other people. So if I can help other people impact other people, I will then have impacted way more people.
Right.
And if anybody's got a problem with that one, I don't know what's up with you.
And
I don't know.
if you help the right person, if you help the right person succeed in business, that's going to lead you to 10 other people that like, I want you to do with me what you did with Bobby, with Michael. I want that same experience. Will you give that to me? You're like, yeah, let's go get it. And it's just going to build and build and build. You never. I think you said one time you were one relationship away from changing your life. That you said that.
I said it, but it was
a quote.
Chaz Wilson said it, and he heard it from somebody that said it.
Dick Tracy said it.
Dick Tracy. Who's Chaz Wilson? Isn't he coming to Nashville?
Yes, Nashville.
I guess you're gonna have to come to Nashville in order to hear him. Anyway, or join Master Networks. Anyway, but totally forgot. What I was gonna say. It was really, really cool. Yeah. So you never know that one conversation. Just like when I met Michael, he's like, dude, you should come back to the office sometime and hang out. All right.
And now we're here.
And now we're
in a different office hanging out.
Now we're in a different office hanging out. But man, you never know, just a conversation with somebody, or somebody's like, hey, I'm really struggling today, and you just affirming them or saying that you believe in them, or saying, hey, let me do this for you, for like, hey, let me just help you with this thing real quick. It looks like you need some help. And you might help them for 10 days. And then after 10 days, they're like, man, this is really good. Would you just do this for me all the time? Oh, sure. Let's do it. And all of a sudden you have a deal, or you've met somebody, or you've been able to, you help somebody out locally, and they introduce you to somebody else. And don't let your proximity limit you. Ooh. Some of the best connections that I have in my life are people that aren't even within an hour of driving distance. People that are states away.
Are we over an hour?
No, you're under an hour. All right.
That's heartbreaking.
Cold-blooded.
I said some.
I was like, Colin, you're like minutes away.
Back. Man, some of the best connections I've made, have been people that are, states away, and we don't let proximity limit. I can't make money if nobody will buy from me in my own little city. That's not the truth. There's people out there that need what you have. Put it out there so people can experience what you do. Change lives.
Boom. All right. Let's wrap this thing up. What's your quote? What's your thing that they need to hear today? Starting with BS, Brent Shot. Oh, that was it? All right, cool.
Coming.
What's up, everybody? Today I'd like to say
Not right.
what would I like to say? Since I already said something really cool, I gotta think of another cool thing to say after it. Don't let people hold you back. There's something you've been called to, and there's gonna be people that are right beside you, smiling at you,
Smile at him, Bobby.
at the same time digging and trying to ruin you.
Ooh,
Ooh.
back.
Go for what your purpose is, your why is. Go after it and change the world. And don't let people limit you or hold you back. And if you need help, support, that's why UnleashU is here, because we want you to unleash you and change the world.
Bobby J.
How do you follow that one? Thanks,
Just
Brent.
like that.
He walks off. What a walk off.
Walk off.
Walk off Homer.
That was good.
Tip your cap. Tip your
That was
cap.
good. I'm just gonna leverage something I posted on Facebook today, and I really,
Damn, I was going to do that
I
too.
really, you can. I'll give you
Like
full
not the
permission,
same thing.
sir.
I was going to do that too.
No, I was going to do yours.
It's about community. It's about. You were gonna do mine. Well, too bad. So sad. You should have started on that side, sir. This is why I do love this community. Because when you're on your way to the top, or you get to the top, people will be excited to reign with you. But it's important to be around people who will go through the rain with you.
That was the sound of the mic dropping. Colin.
What are your final words?
And I have two to follow up. As
Final
Brent
thought.
was talking about, don't let people hold you back. I want to flip that a little bit. Be the person that pushes someone else forward.
Oof.
Because, gosh, you might be that person that somebody else needs in their life, and they might not believe in themselves, and they might be at the bottom of the barrel, and they might need somebody to say, "Hey, I wish I had somebody to believe in me." And each person at the table has been that to somebody else here or somebody else in the community. So be that person that pushes somebody else forward, even when they don't believe it, they don't see it, and just know that we're here. We're here. He's trying to push me forward. So distractions.
Physically.
Don't let distractions hold you back either. Yeah. Push somebody forward. Walk with them along the journey.
I love it. I end it the same way as always. You are not alone. And no matter if you are a client of ours, you spend $1 with us or 0 pennies, whatever that looks like for you, we are here for you. And this community is here for you. And just reach out because you're not alone. We're here for you.
Wobbly Mike over here. What's up? So, yeah, you are a Wobbly Mike. Get it? Yo, so tell 5 people why you appreciate them this week. Yeah, dude. Tell 5 people why you appreciate them. Not just that you do appreciate them, because that's easy. I appreciate you, but tell them why. So 5 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th.
What up? Man, that was a little tight there. I made that snug when I tried to pull it. Something you guys were saying that made me think of something. There was a line said to me today, but it was said to me because it came from like one of my favorite TV series. And they said, if you don't accept the limits that others expect. Right. So that's why it's like, because they said classify how you got here, and I said luck. All right, like when you play with luck, when you play with skill, good luck can happen. All right, and they're like BS. It's because he doesn't accept the limits that other people expect. All right, and to what all of you guys were saying to a degree is like, don't let proximity, Don't let people, don't let your lack of resources or thoughts, right? Don't let those things determine your life. Try this, try it. A lot of the things I've done is when they say about doing it or not, or should we, or could we, or are we the people, or with our past and this and that. And typically the question I ask is why not? What is going to stop us? Because then if you think of the things that can stop you, you can figure out ways around them. Right. And we're sitting in Delaware talking to you with a pastor from Delaware, a cop from Delaware. I'm not going to say who that is. A business owner, a roofer in Delaware. A pastor. Did I already say that? Yeah. Twice. Twice he is too. Then a guy who works for a company, right? Like, right? Like, and then, people that are more fully into Unleash You now all the time. All right. And, we're sitting in Delaware all together and we travel the world having events and speaking to people and having transformational experiences with people from all over the world. We literally have an event next year in March in Nashville where there's already like 5 countries committed to going, 5 different countries. People are coming and attending from 5 different countries. Right. And it's like, we live in Delaware, right? Like what? And to think, right. Why not? And that's the case. Then why not you? Why can't you do exactly what you want to do? Why not? And when you think of it, all you're ever using is excuses not to. Just stop the excuses and just go live. See what happens. Long live the unleashed. Tell them something they don't know about me.